What happens when a simple statement turns into a bombshell that shakes the entire K-entertainment world? Could Lee Jun-ho's explosive words, "Yoona is mine," be the most daring confession fans have ever heard? Shocking claim. Lee Jun-ho stunts fans with explosive declaration, "Yoona is mine." Join red carpet revealed as we uncover the truth. Into the drama. And explore the passion behind this jaw-dropping moment. In the dazzling, carefully choreographed world of K-entertainment, words are often chosen with precision. Rehearsed until flawless. Delivered with the calculated grace of professionals who know every syllable can set off a storm. Yet sometimes, a single unguarded statement escapes, shaking the industry to its core and rewriting the story fans thought they knew. That is exactly what happened when Lee Jun-ho, the polished idol actor celebrated for his discipline, charisma, and quiet intensity, stunned the world with an explosive declaration, "Yoona is mine," 4 words, uttered without warning. And suddenly the fantasy of millions became a headline. A bombshell revelation that sent fans into shock and ignited a wildfire of speculation. Was this a playful remark? An accidental slip? The boldest confession KB's has seen in years? The scene itself was deceptively ordinary. It wasn't a grand awards stage with flashing lights and glittering gowns, nor a dramatic moment in a scripted drama. It was an interview, casual, relaxed, filled with light banter, until suddenly, it wasn't. When asked about his bond with Yoona, Jun-ho leaned slightly forward, eyes alight, and with a smile that was both mischievous and unshakably certain, declared in front of cameras and fans alike, "Yoona is mine." Gasps erupted. Laughter followed, and in seconds, the clip had been immortalized. Within minutes, social media was ablaze. Within hours, news outlets across Korea and beyond were plastering the words across their front pages. By morning, the world was asking, what did he mean? To understand the gravity of this moment, one must understand the players at its center. Lee Jun-ho, once a fiery member of the boy group 2PM, has reinvented himself as one of Korea's most acclaimed actors. From the sweeping historical drama The Red Sleeve to his sharp performances in modern roles, he has built a reputation not just as an idol-turned-actor, but as an artist in his own right. Known for his restraint, his professionalism, and his almost stoic approach to public image, Jun-ho is not the kind of star to make reckless statements. Which is why this declaration landed with such thunderous impact, because it seemed so unlike him. So raw, so uncalculated. Yoona, on the other hand, has long been Korea's golden girl. From her days as the luminous center of Girls' Generation to her acclaimed acting roles in dramas and films, she embodies elegance, sweetness, and strength. She is admired not just for her beauty, but for her resilience, her work ethic, her ability to remain a beloved public figure for over a decade. To millions, she is the nation's sweetheart, the unattainable muse who has somehow remained humble despite her unparalleled success. Which is why Jun-ho's words carried such weight, because to claim Yoona, even playfully, was to touch the very heart of Korea's cultural imagination. This was not, of course, the first time Jun-ho and Yoona had been linked. Their interactions at award shows had long fueled whispers, playful glances exchanged across stages, laughter shared in quiet corners, undeniable chemistry whenever their paths crossed. Fans, ever the detectives, had compiled montages of these moments, dubbing them proof of a hidden bond. When the two appeared together as mix, the internet lit up with comments about how natural they seemed, how comfortable, how perfect. Rumors swirled, but both stars remained silent, letting the speculation fade into the background. Until now, when Jun-ho uttered those 4 words, all the whispers came roaring back, louder than ever. Social media exploded with hashtags, "Yoona is mine," Jun-ho confession, drama come true. Clips of the declaration went viral on TikTok, often set to dramatic soundtracks that made it feel like the climax of a love story. Fans split into camps, some squealing with joy at what they saw as a long-awaited confession, others raising eyebrows and wondering if it was a joke taken too far. But even those who doubted could not deny the chemistry, the intensity, the authenticity of that moment. It didn't feel scripted. It didn't feel promotional. It felt real. The Korean press reacted with predictable frenzy. Tabloids declared it the boldest statement of the year. Commentators debated whether it was a serious admission or playful banter lost in translation. International outlets joined the chorus. describing it as a K-drama come to life and comparing it to legendary celebrity confessions of the past. Agencies, meanwhile, scrambled. Representatives offered vague responses, emphasizing professionalism and friendship. Jun-ho's side urged fans not to overinterpret his words. Yet in the world of entertainment, denials often add fuel to the fire. And the more the agencies tried to calm the storm, the more convinced fans became that there was something to hide. For fans, the declaration was seismic. Many had shipped the two for years. Fan-made edits imagining them as Korea's next golden couple. To hear Jun-ho himself claim her, even if ambiguously, was validation beyond their wildest dreams. Online forums were flooded with celebratory posts, fan art, and emotional essays declaring this the dawn of a new era in KB's romance. Others, however, were more cautious, in respect for both stars' privacy and warning against jumping to conclusions. Yet even the skeptics admitted, the statement was shocking, and its impact undeniable. The intensity of the reaction was about more than just celebrity gossip. It was about what Jun-ho's words represented in a culture where public declarations of romance are rare, almost taboo. Stars carefully guard their private lives, denying relationships until forced to admit them. For Jun-ho to say, "Yoona is mine," was not just bold, it was revolutionary. It challenged the unspoken rules of silence, secrecy, and denial that have governed KBs for decades. Whether intentional or accidental, Jun-ho had shattered the mold. Fans were left to pick up the pieces of what it might mean. Part 1 of this story draws to a close. The world remains in suspense. Was Jun-ho's shocking claim a playful jest, a spontaneous slip of the tongue, or the first public confession of a love story fans have long dreamed of? The truth, as always, lies just beyond reach to be uncovered. One thing is certain, with 4 words, Lee Jun-ho has changed the game, and the echoes of his declaration continue to reverberate through the world of K-entertainment. The aftershocks of Lee Jun-ho's explosive declaration did not fade with a passing news cycle. Instead, they grew louder, deeper, spreading like waves across the ocean of fandoms, media circles, and industry insiders. "Yoona is mine," a phrase so simple, yet so loaded with meaning, became a rallying cry, a meme, a headline, and a cultural moment that refuses to be forgotten. As the dust settled, the world was left to ask, what did he really mean? And what comes next? To answer that question, fans turned to the details, analyzing every frame of the moment with forensic precision. Studied Jun-ho's tone, his smile, the flicker in his eyes. Was he teasing? Was he serious? Was it a slip or a statement? Body language experts weighed in, noting the confidence in his posture, the unmistakable sincerity in his voice. It didn't look like a joke. One analyst declared. He spoke with certainty, with ownership. This was not casual, it was deliberate. Others argued that his mischievous grin suggested playfulness, a star having fun with fans' expectations. In the court of public opinion, the majority verdict leaned toward confession. Yoona's reaction added fuel to the fire. In the clip, she seemed momentarily stunned, eyes widening, parting in surprise, before breaking into laughter that was both shy and radiant. To fans, laugh was everything. Some interpreted it as confirmation, a blush disguised as humor. Others saw it as deflection, a way to soften the weight of his words. Either way, her response only deepened the mystery. I was truly shocked. Why did her laughter feel so warm, guarded? If it was all a joke, why did the moment feel so intimate? The emotional resonance of this declaration lies in what it represents for both stars. For Jun-ho, long admired for his discipline and guarded nature, this was a rare crack in the armor, a glimpse of passion breaking through restraint. For Yoona, adored for her elegance and untouchable aura, a moment of vulnerability, a reminder that even Korea's sweetheart can be caught off guard by words of affection. Together, they created a scene that was not polished or rehearsed, but raw and real. And that, perhaps, fans cannot let it go. Industry insiders began whispering, as they always do. Stylists claimed to have noticed a closeness between the two off-camera, subtle gestures that hinted at more than friendship. Members spoke of quiet conversations and shared laughter during breaks, of a comfort that seemed too natural to be casual. Fans ran with these whispers, publishing speculative articles about secret meetings, private dinners, and late-night phone calls. Agencies, predictably, denied everything. Insisting the relationship was nothing more than professional respect. But fans, fueled by Jun-ho's own words, no longer satisfied with denials. They believed belief is a powerful thing. Internationally, the reaction was equally explosive. Western outlets covered the story as if it were a Hollywood romance, dubbing it Korea's biggest celebrity confession. Southeast Asian fans declared it a moment of the year, while Japanese and Chinese media dissected the cultural significance of such a bold statement. For many, it was proof that K-entertainment, often criticized for its secrecy, was evolving toward openness, toward authenticity. Jun-ho's words had become more than a confession, they were a symbol of change. The impact on their careers was immediate. Jun-ho, once known for his quiet intensity, suddenly the man who dared to speak his heart. Yoona, already adored, now carried the aura of someone deeply desired, deeply cherished. Brands debated whether to capitalize on the chemistry or tread carefully around the storm. Casting directors whispered about the possibility of pairing them in a drama, imagining the ratings explosion such a project would unleash. Far from damaging their reputations, declaration seemed to elevate them both, turning them into icons not just of talent, but of passion. Yet with every wave of excitement came waves of caution. Critics warned of the dangers of blurring the line between public fantasy and private reality. Some questioned whether Jun-ho's words placed undue pressure on Yoona, forcing her into a narrative she did not choose. Others worried about the backlash if the relationship, real or not, did not live up to fan expectations. The debate raged. But one truth remained unshakable: the story had already entered legend, and no amount of analysis could erase its impact. The days turned to weeks. The phrase "Yoona is mine" took on a life of its own. It appeared on fan merchandise, in song lyrics, in artwork shared across the globe. It became a meme, a mantra, and repeated with both humor and reverence. For fans, it was not just Jun-ho's claim, it was their fantasy made real. Their ship confirmed in the most dramatic way possible. Whether true or not, it had already become part of K-entertainment history. So, we arrive at a final question: what does the future hold for Lee Jun-ho and Yoona? Will they step forward, hand in hand, to confirm what the world already suspects? Or will they retreat into silence, letting the mystery linger, and preserved in secrecy? Perhaps the answer lies not in what they say, but in what they have already shown. Because sometimes, a single moment, a single smile, a single declaration is enough to tell the world everything it needs to know. In the end, Jun-ho's explosive words will be remembered not just as a shocking claim, but as a turning point. A moment when fantasy and reality collided. Restraint gave way to passion. When silence was broken by 4 words that shook an industry. Is mine. With those words, Lee Jun-ho did more than stun fans. He wrote himself and Yoona into the annals of K-entertainment legend, leaving the world breathless, waiting, hoping, and believing that the greatest love stories are the ones that feel too bold, too raw, too impossible to be anything but true. The echo of Jun-ho's words did not fade, it grew. Yoona is mine had leapt beyond the moment, beyond the interview, beyond the borders of Korea. A phenomenon that refused to be silenced. What began as an impulsive statement had transformed into a cultural storm, reshaping fan spaces, creating headlines, and sparking endless conversations about love, power, authenticity in K-entertainment. Within hours of the statement, fans created endless montages on TikTok and YouTube. Clips of Jun-ho's declaration were paired with scenes of him and Yoona laughing at award shows, standing side by side at press conferences, exchanging playful glances that once seemed innocuous but now felt loaded with meaning. The videos went viral. Captions like "He finally said it" and "a confession we waited for." To those who had long shipped them, it was the ultimate validation. For new fans, it was the spark that drew them into a story they hadn't realized they needed. Merchandise soon followed. Online shops, both official and fan-driven, began selling t-shirts, mugs, and posters emblazoned with the phrase "Yoona is mine." Designers created digital fan art of Jun-ho and Yoona surrounded by hearts, their silhouettes intertwined beneath bold lettering. In some corners of fandom, the declaration became a motto, symbol of unwavering loyalty. Hashtags trended daily, not just in Korea but across the globe. Yoona is mine. Jun-ho confession, legendary claim. But the storm was not without conflict. Critics argue that Jun-ho's words placed a burden on Yoona, framing her as someone to be claimed rather than an equal partner. Feminist commentators debated the cultural implications of the phrasing, questioning whether fans were too quick to romanticize something that could be read as possessive. Yet, even within this debate, one truth was clear: no one could ignore the moment. It had forced conversations about gender, romance, and celebrity culture in ways that ordinary interviews never did. The entertainment industry, too, felt the ripple effects. Advertisers debated whether to lean into the frenzy or pull back to avoid controversy. Some brands saw opportunity. Imagine a perfume campaign framed as "the scent that's mine," while others feared alienating Yoona's massive solo fan base. Producers, meanwhile, about the potential of casting them together in a drama. If their chemistry was this explosive in real life, it do on screen. Ratings, they imagined, would soar. Agencies remained cautious. Statements emphasized friendship, professionalism, and respect. But behind the scenes, staffers couldn't stop talking. One stylist was overheard saying, "You can feel it. Energy between them, it's real." A crew member added, "Jun-ho's not the type to speak carelessly." If he said that, it meant something. These whispers, amplified by tabloids, only deepened the conviction of fans who already believed the claim was a confession. And then there was Yoona herself. For days, the world replayed her reaction, those widened eyes, that startled laugh, the faint pink of her cheeks. Lists poured over every second. Was it embarrassment? Delight? Shock? Fans insisted it was the look of someone caught off guard by a truth too raw to be denied. Her silence afterward spoke volumes. Rebuke him. Didn't distance herself, didn't clarify. In a culture where even rumors are swiftly denied, her choice to let the moment linger was, in itself, a powerful statement. The global reaction elevated the declaration into legend. Western tabloids framed it as Korea's boldest celebrity confession. Japanese magazines called it a K-drama come alive. In Southeast Asia, it trended for weeks. And meetings filled with chants of "Yoona is mine," shouted playfully by audiences whenever Jun-ho appeared. The phrase had transcended its origin. It was no longer just his words, but a shared story embraced by millions. Beyond the frenzy, the human truth resonated most. For years, fans had admired Jun-ho for his discipline and Yoona for her grace. To see them in a moment of vulnerability, unguarded, was to see them as human. Not idols, not actors, not public figures bound by contracts and PR strategies, but two people connected in a way that felt authentic. It was romantic love, deep friendship, or something unnameable. It was real. And that reality was more powerful than any script. The legacy of Yoona is mine is already etched in K-entertainment history. It will be remembered alongside iconic moments, celebrity weddings, surprise romances, legendary drama pairings. It will be retold in documentaries, referenced in interviews, and cherished by fans who will always remember where they were when they first heard those words. Because in the end, Jun-ho gave the world was not just a claim. He gave them a story, a dream, a piece of raw humanity in an industry built on polish and perfection. And perhaps that is why the moment endures. Beyond the shock, beyond the speculation, beyond the endless debates, it reminded us of the one thing fans crave most: authenticity. 4 words, unplanned, polished, unstoppable, revealed more about Jun-ho and Yoona than years of press conferences ever could. And as the world continues to whisper, debate, and dream, one truth remains: love, whether confessed, implied, or imagined, has the power to stop the world in its tracks. In an industry built on rehearsed lines and carefully protected images, one unguarded moment has changed everything. Jun-ho's words, "Yoona is mine," were more than a statement. They became a spark, igniting passion in fans, fueling debates in media, and writing a new chapter in K-entertainment history. Whether playful banter, a slip of honesty, or a hidden confession finally revealed, those 4 words will echo far beyond the stage where they were spoken. Yoona's laughter, Jun-ho's certainty, the storm of reactions, together, created a scene so unforgettable that it no longer belongs only to the two of them. It belongs to the millions who watched, gasped, smiled, cried, and believed. For some, it was shocking. For others, it was thrilling. But for all, prove that even in the most controlled world, love, or the possibility of it, can break free and shine. Years from now, people will not just remember Jun-ho the idol, or Yoona the nation's sweetheart. They will remember this, the claim that shook an industry. On that may forever remain one of KBS's greatest mysteries. To all our readers, thank you for joining Red Carpet Revealed on this thrilling journey into the whispers, the emotions, and the unforgettable firestorm of Jun-ho's shocking claim. Passion, your excitement, and your belief in the magic of K-entertainment are what keep these stories alive. Stay with us, because this world never stops surprising us. Tomorrow may bring another confession, another spark, or moment that will leave us breathless. Until then, thank you for watching, for wondering, keeping the spirit of love, drama, and curiosity alive.